Johns is talking. T, he's a DCSAA alum here. Should we take it easy on him?
I mean, look, man, no. Absolutely not.
Absolutely not.
This is what we call the hot take of the day. For those of you at home, this is when we take a question that you have sent us either on Facebook and or Twitter. We bring it right here and we discuss it on the show. Today's hot take of the day is actually anonymous, coming in from Facebook. So that means that it gets real.
Yeah.
The question reads this. My son attends a prominent private school in the Baltimore region. His football team is dominant on the field, but I'm concerned because not enough of the coaches look like the players. The coaching staff is primarily Caucasian and the student athletes are primarily black. They've proven to be able to help them win on the field, but I don't know that they have the experience to help them win in life. The question here is it important, is it necessary for coaches to be minority, to be able to reach minority student athletes? What do we think?
I think it's important. I don't think it's necessarily mandatory because I think coaches, you know, if a player is black and a coach is white, like the example you gave, that coach can still almost relate to what a player is going through. I think of Greg Popovich.
Correct.
And he has a lot of international players, a lot of black players, and Greg Popovich speaks out on social issues, things that relate to many of his black players. But I think having a black coach, for instance, will add to that. They can say, you know, I've been through this. I know what you're going through as a minority, as a person of color. And it's just easier to have that relationship. Like LeBron James, Tyronn Lue, LeBron says he knows what I've been through. He went through the same thing I went through. So that bond just comes quicker and easier.
I think D just kind of spoke out of both sides of your mouth. I mean, which side did you take on that one, D?
Well, I don't think it's.
Is it a yes or no?
No.
He's being so political. He's got to feel
right.
No, yeah.
I'm going to be straight up with I don't think it is.
Okay.
And I'll tell you why. First of all, being black does not mean you understand me. We have the black experience is not this singular thing. I want people to get that in mind. You still have individuals like Ben Carson who would think slavery was a form of immigration.
Okay.
So obviously we don't all share that same.
You're making it
experience.
real right here on the Ricardo Report, aren't you? That's right.
So what I need is for a coach to understand where they come from.
Okay.
White, black, yellow, whatever the color of your skin is, wherever practices you do in life, just understand where they come from. Because a coach is not just a coach, but sort of a sports father. You know, you're a mentor. So be there for them, understand them, and not necessarily look like them.
Breeze.
I have to agree with the both of you. I honestly think that the skin color may help a little, but I think that it's the experiences that you go through that help you to relate to one another, help you to understand where each other is coming from. So I think that experience is what is really important.
Now, just like many of you, I was a student athlete, not an extraordinarily good one for a lot of my life, but I was a student athlete as well. So I agree with where you all are coming from, but is there no stock to be put in? Because like you said, T, very frequently that coach is like a father figure to many minority males who don't have fathers in their lives.
Yeah, and because there's always that flip side. At the end of the day, being black gives you that opportunity to actually know somebody, you know, a better chance of knowing them. And so when you don't get to be in those shoes, you might expect them to do something different or put them a little bit out of their comfort zone to a point where you might destroy their talent rather than help them.
That's awesome.
So I definitely understand the other side as far as like, listen, at the end of the day, man, and there's a lot of racism in sports, right?
Yeah.
There is. So.
No, I tell you what, I think that our overwhelming thought is that so long as you care about the kids, you care about their experience, you give that heart in there, you can likely reach them.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We're gonna have some more people to come on and talk about that because the Nats Youth Baseball Academy will be represented here in just a second. Darrell Balknight, thank you very much for coming on the show.
Thank you so much.
T, you'll stick around?
Absolutely.
We'll get a little more work out of you than usual.
Let's do it.
This is the Ricardo Report on DKN Sports. This is a big one, and so I really want for us to address this and take it on. This one's coming from Sharon Smith. This came from Facebook. For everyone watching at home, you can reach us on Facebook as well as on Twitter at The Ricardo Report with your hot take of the week. We may read it on air. Sharon Smith said this. She says, my son is a rising senior. He plays football for his high school team. He was told in confidence that one of his closest friends also on the team is homosexual. The young man has been struggling with his identity. He's popular, and he is concerned that his teammates may treat him differently if they know the truth. She says that I told my son that it's 2017. Michael Sam came out of the closet. He should be fine, right? I guess the question is in the high school environment that is set here, is it in the young man's best interest to reveal his truth, or is it in his best interest to conceal it?
You go ahead. Go ahead.
You want me to take this?
Yes, I want you to take that one first.
I think. First of all, these are kids. You're in high school.
High school.
All right. You're
school.
there for sports.
Okay.
If you feel the need to talk about your sexuality, you're already out of bounds.
Okay.
You're there to play a game. Now, if you feel that need, the consequences are up to you. Yeah.
Now, talk to me about that. What do
So
you mean by
what I mean
consequences?
is, don't nobody need to know what you're doing.
All right.
But if you're going to put it out there, you got to be ready for the consequences. And that could be positive, that could be negative. I don't think anybody should judge anyone based off of that. But if you put it out there, expect the worst and the best.
Okay.
It's not a point of putting it out there.
Right.
The point is, be who you are.
Right.
If they know that you are, you don't have to be the manly man and say, I'm the team captain and I got all the cheerleaders and all the girls around me.
Right.
And, you know, and then at night, you're something different.
Correct.
Right. So I'm like, be upfront. Be honest. I played high school sports. I played sports in junior high school. I was the best. And I've been gay since I've been old enough to spell it. And I've been out all of my motion picture career.
Right. So how was that? How was that for you?
Right.
How was that for you?
And I didn't have a problems with teammates because they were like, when you saw the report, I got into bullies and fights. And I didn't have a problem whatsoever.
And I'm pretty sure you got the negative and the positive.
I got both,
Yeah.
but I had a great support from my family. I had a great support from friends. Even the principal of my school said, look, Tommy, I want you to be a patrol officer because you beat up someone who was bullying you.
Right. Well, and that's real, but let's, as much as it is 2017, I think that we can't look at this with rose-colored glasses on, you know? I mean, I think that there can be times in which a student athlete could make their life that much more challenging when faced with those same bullies if maybe they can't take it on the way that you did.
Right.
No, go ahead.
Well, you know, a lot of kids, especially now, are being bullied. They run into a corner.
Correct.
They commit suicide.
Absolutely.
They're
Correct.
doing a lot of things. If this person is playing ball, gay people have been playing sports forever.
Yep.
Correct.
I mean, I can take you all the way back to the days of Carl Lewis running track in the 80s when there was a cowboy fan. He was a Dallas Cowboy who came out the closet.
Correct. Now,
After he got caught first, but he came out.
See, we're basketball reference. We got the 24-second shot clock here. You're a student athlete. You're in high school. A teammate comes out, expresses himself. How do you deal with it?
Oh man, that's up to you. I'm not necessarily an athlete, but I'm in an industry that has a lot of homosexuals as well. I'm a dancer. You walk into a dance room, you see a whole bunch of male dancers. They're probably gay, or most likely, or whatever. It's your business, bro. I personally don't care. I don't think anybody should.
But and this is what I dislike. Everybody think that because you're a dancer, you're a hairstylist, you're a makeup artist, you're gay.
Right.
But
Gays have been playing football for a long time. They're some of your best basketball players.
I'm a dancer. I'm not gay.
there we go.
Are gay.
Yeah.
I used to do MMA, I used to fight, and one of the best fighters that I worked with was gay. So you don't have to be.
I just don't think anybody should
Some
care.
of the best judges
think
and
anybody should.
congressmen on Capitol Hill are gay.
Right.
It doesn't matter what they feel is. Everybody asks me all the time, Tommy, do you do hair? Do you play the piano at church?
No, you work in politics, television, and radio.
Right.
Listen, we got to get out of here on that. That was a heck of a segment right there. Excellent conversation. We believe in tolerance here. We believe in tolerance. We promote it. Tommy Bennett, thank you so very much.
Hey, Chad, anytime.
Thank
And I
you,
want to
man.
come to your dance class.
Okay.
But nobody asked me what sport. Nobody asked me what sports did I
Tommy,
play.
that's because we got to get out of here.
Well, I played jacks.
You all keep it locked right here. The Wilson softball team, Lady Tigers, are next on the Ricardo Report. He played Jackson.
Tommy.
NBA Finals time right now. At the
NBA.
time of taping, the Golden State Warriors are up by 2-0. By the time this airs, that won't be the case. But here's what I want to know from you all. Thus far, what are your impressions on the series, and how do you think this is going to turn out?
LeBron's gonna lose.
I mean,
look at that.
He's gonna lose.
this
It's
is why
going
you're my
down.
best
He
friend,
is going
T-Boy.
down.
it's clear the Cavaliers' defense has been an issue for them all season long, and it's only getting exacerbated here. Obviously, they're trying to chase the three-point line because we all know about how dangerous Steph Curry and Klay Thompson are, but that's just letting Kevin Durant run to the rim, and he's a 7-footer who's got guard handles. He's taking it to the hole every time, and it's getting just horrifying.
Now listen, here's the deal. You're not right very often, but you did say before this series started, you said that the Cavs defense would end up being an issue. Not sure that that's a really bright thing, seeing as how great the Golden State offense is, but you did say it.
The Celtics were getting open shots. They just don't have the shooters to hit them. Otherwise, they might have been in the finals.
Okay. Yeah.
This series is over. It's over.
Okay.
I mean, I hope the Cavs get swept actually, but I
So
think
do
I think it might go 6 just to be generous. But Klay Thompson is back. I think
To
he
be
had a
fair,
great game last night.
I feel I saw the game last night, and I feel as though LeBron is not here yet.
Okay.
It hasn't dawned on him yet.
Right.
Are you sure? I mean, he had went out and had a triple-double. He knows the moment is right now to perform.
But he won that won LeBron from last year. He won that with heart.
He's
He won no
older.
heart.
He's old. You can't say there's no heart
He's tired,
with his
Josh. He is
performance.
gassed out there.
He's
He's
an older
gassed.
man. Okay.
For the first
Age is-
time, I saw more heart in Curry than in LeBron.
I'm not going to say more heart. I will say more energy because LeBron James
That's
is an
hard.
old man.
Hard
The old man
in
who
sports
led the
basically
league. He
turns
led
into
the league
energy.
in minutes played for most of the season,
This
which
guy.
was unnecessary. He's going to wear down. He's a human. He might be one of the most impressive physical specimens we've
Listen,
seen.
I think
anybody's going to wear down.
I think that this is what we're getting to here. This is a conversation that I have with Josh. Give Jaron Glover, another Ricardo Report member, a shout out there as well, because we have these conversations with them as well. People like Josh, okay, millennials, people like Josh.
Oh my goodness.
Get obsessed with numbers. So T, when you say that LeBron, you didn't see from him what you want, Josh says, yeah, but look at his stat line.
Right, right.
Not
Stats
how hard
don't
did he
tell the whole
play,
story.
not how hard he went
Stats
out.
What do you
don't
mean?
tell the whole
He was
story.
spent out. Okay, that man had
Stats
no
do not tell the
energy
whole story.
left.
Come on, man.
You can't say question his heart when he goes out there, has the game that he had. He's fighting for his team's life. He knows that right now. This is his legacy up for grabs because
You know what? You
Is
bring up a
it?
good point.
Yeah,
Let's
Is it?
So one of the debates I've been having on Twitter recently with a lot of the younger kids, they keep on saying LeBron is the GOAT. LeBron James has the potential to be the greatest of all time, but it's still the man who's on my tank top right now, Michael Jordan, who
LeBron
is the
will
greatest
never
of all
be the
time.
greatest of all
Oh
time.
no, it's unlikely.
Never.
He's got to win like 4 more titles for it to happen.
You gotta pass
No, you
Kobe
don't
first.
understand.
No,
It's
no,
not even
okay.
about that.
Okay,
Being the greatest of all time has nothing to do with
you can't
stats
talk
anymore.
the whole time, T.
Yeah.
Okay.
Being the greatest of all time doesn't have to do with stats anymore. See, records in sports are always fleeting. every new generation would break a previous record.
There we go.
So you're saying we're going to see
Michael
another player
Jordan's
make
talent
it?
and skill is unbeatable.
Okay, but
regardless of how many decades we travel through.
I'm not denying that. And his
Yeah.
cultural impact on the sport of basketball is going to be unparalleled, okay? I don't think there's another analogy. Maybe you could say Tom Brady if he played in the 60s and did what he's doing today for the NFL. But that's getting into hypotheticals.
Tom Brady's not that great.
So, you know,
I wouldn't.
that's actually a perfect segue that we have right here. So, as we talk about LeBron, because LeBron's legacy is probably the most highly debated thing in sports in this generation right here.
Absolutely.
So, can you be considered the greatest of all time if you don't have the titles? If your rings don't line up, let's say that LeBron loses this year, and then what will that make him, 3-5? Which you still give him all the credit. I think if he loses this year, that'll make him 3-5.
Yeah.
So if he ends up 3-5, 3-6, 3-7, but averages a triple-double for his career numbers, can you be considered the greatest if you don't have the titles on your resume?
Hey, and that is why I qualified it saying he needed to win maybe like 4 more titles. He's still got to pass Michael
be the
when it
greatest.
comes to rings.
Bro, you do know that people don't win 4 in their whole career. So why are you even putting him in the conversation if he still has to win 4 more?
Because when you look at longevity of production, it's him and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, maybe Karl Malone, and that's the only guys who have done it this sustained, this long, this continuous. Because let's give Michael Jordan credit. He was the greatest, but he did take 2 years off during the middle of his prime.
What does that have to do? You know what, Evan? My gosh, Evan.
All I'm saying is he isn't the greatest yet. He has a chance. It's an outside chance. But right now he's the Dan Marino. He's got the stats that make him look like one of the all-time greats, but he doesn't necessarily have the rings to back
Dan
it up.
Marino's not even in the top 5 conversation of best coaches. Evan, you were speaking about Kobe Bean Bryant in this conversation.
You know what? Let's let the ambassadors of Kobe stand up a moment to clear out.
Kobe has that killer mentality. He also has 5 rings. Granted, he did play with the most dominant player when he was playing with Shaq, but he also did win 2 rings on his own.
2-1. 2-1 without Shaq.
Right.
He had Pau Gasol there. He had Lamar Odom, the greatest 6th man of all time before the Kardashians ruined him.
Oh my goodness gracious.
The greatest 6th man of all time.
Stay away from the Kardashians.
It's so debatable, but when it comes back to the topic of do you need to win crowns to be the greatest, yes, you do need to win. Now, the number of crowns to me doesn't necessarily, go in relation to you being the greatest. So my thing is,
Because you don't consider Tom Brady the greatest.
I don't.
Okay, all
I
right,
don't.
go ahead.
But let's say LeBron goes in and wins.
Right.
Just about enough, or even more than Michael, or whatever.
Correct.
Michael Jordan defined the game.
Yes.
That's what makes him the greatest.
So
Tiger Woods
Okay, so
defined the game.
now you're talking about
Charles Barkley has no rings.
Okay.
But still a great player.
Okay, but would you say he's a greater player than LeBron James?
Who? Michael Jordan?
No, not Michael.
Who?
Charles Barkley. Okay, yeah, so rings do have a lot to do with that
Yes,
conversation.
they do, but they don't define the entirety of it.
You know, I think we were speaking a little bit, and our 24-second clock is running down here. But we were talking a little bit about this before the show began, and we spoke about the fact that LeBron James, I'll say it into the camera, hands down the most talented basketball player practically to ever play the game. But there's a lot more that goes into greatness than just talent alone.
Yes.
You got to bring in leadership. You got to bring in intangibles. You got to ask me, when the game's on the line, whose hands do you want the ball in? Josh Eloy, I can give you 5, 6, 7 guys that I want the ball in before LeBron James.
Is Steve Kerr one of them?
Julissa said, Mr. Ricardo, I saw Rob Gronkowski recently at WWE, and I've seen him previously partying, yet he never gets in trouble. I often wonder if my son would get the same treatment if he acted the same way. Interesting question. Is there a double standard for Rob Gronkowski?
Now, I'm going to assume she's African American.
We can only assume. We don't know. We can only make assumptions.
Okay, all right. No.
Okay.
Her son will not be treated the same way.
Wow.
Yes.
Straight up.
There is a double standard, and it's not foreign to the United States. It's in sports. Now, with the NFL in particular, there's always been the white guy's got to do this much,
Right.
but the black guy's got to do that much to be half as respected.
Right. Right.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
yes.
Now that's interesting. Coach, assistant athlete. Now you're around these student athletes all the time. What's your take?
I'm around them all the time, but also us being athletes as well and just growing up in the community.
That's a former athlete. I wasn't that good. That's why I talk sports now.
Listen, I wasn't that good either. But to be honest with you, I mean, I agree with you 100%, but it's not just in sports, guys. I mean, let's be honest here. It's life. I mean, listen, I look as white as possible, but I'm definitely Ispizua last name, Latino, bilingual, and you know, being a big guy with a shaved head is kind of intimidating walking in a room. So I have to lower my voice. I have to calm my approach. I have to extend my hand slowly.
Because of what?
Just because of what people's perception is of me, or what they see on the media, or what they've learned throughout their life. It's unfair, but we've been dealing with it for how long now?
Absolutely. That's why I say it's not foreign. You know? Yeah, go ahead.
One of the things that I like to do is, of course, to bring up the counter points, the counter arguments here. And many people who come to Gronk's defense would say, well, he never actually does anything troubling. He doesn't do anything menacing. He may party, he may take pictures that maybe he shouldn't, but he doesn't do anything menacing. Does that then make it okay? They say he's more just like a safe frat guy.
Yeah, there's a fine line between a safe frat guy and a criminal, or somebody that's going to find charges against him at some point or the other.
Especially you, Breeze, from a young lady's perspective.
I don't know. Seeing that kind of manner, behavior, for me is kind of a turn off.
Okay.
I'm not into that, but I would just say that
Sarah Breeze taking personal accounts at the Ricardo Report.
I'm saying that he is not, I wouldn't look up to him if I were a young man or even a young woman who's thinking about getting into, I mean, there are a lot of young women trying to get into football, and they're trying to see that that's not what I want to get into. So I don't know, for me, looking at someone partying all the time and not focusing really on the sport, yes, he's a fantastic player. I respect him, but when you're doing that all the time, I don't know, can you look up to someone like that?
So my perspective on this is a little more specific. So you look at artists, not artists, sports athletes like Richard Sherman.
Correct.
You know?
Correct. Excellent example.
He doesn't have to do a lot to be called a thug. Really. All he has to do is complain one time. It's not wrong to party.
Right.
No.
Gron is not a partier. Gron is way more than that.
He is the party.
I mean, we're talking about a football player chugging beers, you know, everywhere. Literally,
on stage,
the
cruises.
NFL will be on his behind.
Correct.
If you know, this was just any other person.
Right.
But it's Gron being Gron. That's what everybody says.
Gronk being Gronk.
Yeah.
Didn't the boys go on that party trip down to
They-
Miami
they
on the
went
boat,
on-
and then they lost the Super Bowl, and they got
They were
scrutinized.
on the yacht.
They're scrutinized.
And there didn't even have the pictures and photos and whatnot there.
And an interesting thing, Martin mentioned, this is even beyond sports. You know, when you think about other arenas, I really don't like, you know, mentioning this, but our president, you know, was married 3 times. Would Hillary Clinton be allowed to even be on the presidential ticket if Bill Clinton was her 3rd husband?
That's real.
Let's
So
ask that
you're going
question.
from the female perspective
Yes, from
here
the
as well.
female perspective as well. You know, the sports athletes, let's look at the soccer team, which is, I would say, the most successful sports team that we have as far as females go, right? Our soccer team is probably the best. Can they do stuff like this?
Probably
Absolutely
not.
not. Absolutely
Who did we
not.
have last week? The boxer.
Tori Shonuff Nelson.
Can she do stuff
Absolutely
like this?
not.
Tori Shonuff, show can't do things like Rob Gronkowski.
So, yeah.
I'll tell you what. I guess the question here is reclassifying student athletes, which is prevalent in this region here. Is it in the best interest of the child? Is it in or out of bounds?
I think it's out of bounds if you're doing it for athletics, period.
Okay.
It happens. It happens usually in the 8th grade. If it happens on the high school side and we catch it, you're going to be in trouble for it. So don't do it.
Tell me about that.
Well, look, I think, first of all, for us, and I'm going to go a roundabout way to get there. The primary disqualifier for ineligibility in athletics is age. It's 19.
Wow.
We don't want our kids, my 14-year-old, playing against a 19-year-old in a contact sport.
Correct.
I believe, personally, we're looking at maybe moving our rules this way to give student athletes 4 seasons to compete in one sport.
Correct.
But if you play in the 9th grade and then reclass in the 9th grade, that's twice you've played in ninth grade, you've used up 2 seasons. Do not make a mistake in the district
Right.
of reclassifying. We've had that happen a couple of times, and students have been deemed ineligible, and their teams haven't been in our state playoffs.
I know that just happened during the basketball championships.
It did. But in our rule change that I'm talking about moving forward, it wasn't so much as reclassifying. Now look, if there is an academic institution and that student doesn't meet their academic requirements, then by all means they should be reclassified or have to repeat.
Correct.
But if you go into the 10th grade and you meet all the standards to pass into the 11th, and mom or dad decide, no, we want you to repeat 10th because we want you to grow stronger, that's a no. Yeah, that's not fair.
Right.
That's not fair to the others, and we will not allow you to play.
So to be clear, though, at the 8th grade level, because it is frequently happening at the 8th grade level, what are your thoughts there?
Look, I think every parent has a right to make their own decision. Certainly for me, we're looking at going into elementary and middle school sports, and I would be very strong in the reclassifying, not reclassifying. I just think that is not the right way to go as far as athletics. We're academic based.
Not ethical, man.
Right, we're academic based. There are plenty of other opportunities in AAU, in 707 passing. There are other opportunities for youth to engage in activity and sport, not in the academic curriculum, but it's not an academic based. Wouldn't do it.
Okay.
No good.
T and Breeze, I know, briefly, go ahead and get in there.
I mean, basically, as far as I'm concerned, it's not ethical for the simple reason you cannot hold them back just because you want them to be successful in that.
Listen, I have to interject, and we got to get out of here, but I have to interject because, again, I work with a good amount of student athletes and their families who feel differently, and their argument is that ultimately this is going to help their academics from the perspective of their athletics taking them to school and potentially on a scholarship free of charge, or to get potentially a better education at the high school level.
Do we have any actual cases? Do you know of? Because I don't. Do you know of any?
I do. Okay. I do. I could name a few. Okay. I could name a few. Whether we're speaking about
it has a positive impact on it.
And I know that the producers are in my ear. We got to get out of here. I could speak to a Blake Corum who presently attends Pilate, which is outside of the district. I could speak to a number of student athletes at Gonzaga and/or St. John's in which this has benefited, because not only are they better athletically, but oftentimes it also helps them from a maturity perspective as well. So they're more mature, especially when we're talking about boys. Because what's the main issue with boys? The main issue with boys is that maturity factor. So if they have another year, they have an extra year to grow, to develop, then maybe they're more prepared to be able to handle the rigors of being a top-notch student athlete.
Then why not change the rules for everybody? I mean, it right now it's against the rules, and man, I think not for it.
Okay.
Not for it.
Not
Breezy?
for it. There you
Not
go.
for it.
Last word.
Not for it.
I second that.
Breezy's not for it either?
Not for it.
I tell you what,
Not for it. Let them go to school. If you're
1.
not good, get out.
my girlfriend / future wife, she's not for it either. My future son will probably be not eligible for reclass tonight.
All right.
I tell you what, Clark, Ray, T-Force, you two are absolutely fantastic. Thank you very much for stopping by.
That's awesome.
Coming up, Josh E. Laurie will be next, and we're going to talk about a ton of the student athletes, maybe even a couple of that I mentioned right there. Keep it locked. It's the Ricardo Report. Let's see. Tell you what, we're going to play a quick game of toss-up as we talk a little NBA with you right quick. Can we do that?
We can do that.
We got to get out of here, but not until we do that. Breeze, you got it?
I got it. Okay, so if you're starting a team today, which PG do you take first? John Wall, Isaiah Thomas, James Harden.
Just the point guards that are still in the playoffs, I see. Okay. All right.
No question. We're in D.C. John Wall. Let's do it. Let's do it. No question. Speed and quickness.
I mean, it's not like anybody in the league can stay in front of him. Isaiah Thomas has been doing his best, but they always put Avery Bradley on him for a reason.
Okay, you know what? I'm going against you two, and I'm actually going Isaiah Thomas on this right here. I know that we are in D.C., but in my opinion, John Wall's not a winner.
Wow.
We'll find out by the end of this season, but we'll move forward with that. I'm sorry, John. Sorry, D.C.
D.C.
Okay.
Sorry, D.C. DC's sinking.
He's sinking. In regards,
Here's what I want to know, bro. because you do a lot in basketball. Josh Eloy and I, we debate all the time about the state of the NBA. What I want to know from you is, are NBA players, are they getting soft, bro? I mean, you got guys who need to take games off. You know, they get paid tens of millions of dollars to play a basketball game for kids. They take days off. Are NBA players getting soft?
I would say they're getting soft. I think.
What would you say?
I would say that the game has evolved.
Are they tired? Do they need to come see a trainer like
You
you?
let him get 2 words out.
I mean, you know.
It's a long season.
Okay.
Was it 81 games?
It's 82.
82 games. You know, that's a long way, long days. You got practice. You're away from your families. You know, the referees call it tight now because they want these players. It's a business just like everything else. We want them to last.
They
Longevity.
make tens of millions of dollars, right?
Tens of millions.
Do you go to work like every day?
Every day.
Okay. They play 82 games a year?
82.
Okay, it's
I'm
365 days a year. Okay,
I get that.
I'm gonna leave it there so that we can get to some other stuff, but we could debate this, ad nauseum.
Right.
All right, fine. Josh, what do you got?
Okay, so Josh.
Exactly.
Well, it does with all of the football and the basketball and then lacrosse and everything, even track and field, baseball. So that kind of leads me to my next question. I know that Rob Manfred, the Major League Baseball commissioner, now he says that he believes that the decline in black participation in baseball can be reversed. Do we believe that can be reversed? And I'm going to tell you why. I know that you all are doing a great deal with it. My father played in the Negro Leagues when he was coming up, but in my community, and maybe you all can speak to this, we lived in apartments. We played baseball with a baseball bat and a tennis ball because if we hit a real ball, it might have broken a window, and I think that's a lot of the issues. What you all are doing is helping, but can it really be turned around?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the thing with what we're doing, our facility allows, we have 3 turf fields, and, the doors are always open and the lights are always on for anyone in the community. And that's probably one of the biggest, challenges with baseball and African Americans in the community is that there's not really that structure and/or safe places to play. So we're allowing that opportunity for kids to come in, learn the game the right way, have a positive experience, and just have fun doing it, but also the structure around it. Having mentors, volunteers, great coaches that can also help them along the way. And once that structure is in place, then it makes the game a lot easier and more accessible for the community.
We're also, our programming is free of charge for our scholar athletes. And one of the challenges is that baseball and softball are pretty expensive sports to play.
Correct.
You have bat, ball, whatever, and you need more than one person to play. So we actually provide a summer instructional league for Ward 7 and 8 and soon to be Ward 6 residents, children living in those wards. And we're providing the positive coaching that you guys were talking about earlier, and then also the mentoring, and then just a great place to play.
Now, obviously, what you all are doing is opening up those doors. What can other organizations that are not in DC, because you all are doing a great job in DC, how can other organizations really follow you all's lead and bring baseball to other communities just like the ones that you all are serving?
I think one of our goals is to be the model across the country. To what Preston was saying, having this holistic approach where we're starting at the 8-year-olds, and then hopefully, them continuing with us for 6 years at least, and then maybe even coming back for additional programming or becoming mentors for the younger kids that are coming back in.